Alright, cool. We are live. Yo, Ron, you got your mic on?
Apparently not.
I'll go ahead and post the link up and everything that way.
He seems like the type that would play with that Tentakunto.
With what?
Is that he seems like the type that would want to play with that Tentakumpo. Just run ISO every play, physically dominate.
I wonder how long do those games take? I haven't played 2K
Uh,
like ever.
yeah, I don't know. Normally I think it's like half hour, 35 minutes, but I don't know how far he is into the game.
Let's see, he said 2 minutes. Here, give me a second. I don't know what that means. I want to see if I can hear you guys on the stream or you on the stream.
Yo, Ron, you got your mic on?
Yeah, I can hear you. Cool. Kind of wait till we get some people watching since I just posted the stream. That way we can start. I appreciate you going through and doing all that, man. Me and Ron just knocked out the cornerbacks. It didn't take too long with both of us doing it. Probably better, a better way of going about it once we have to make edits, because I'm sure we'll have to make edits and changes. So what was the minimum run block again? Let's see.
65.
65.
65 for run block impact, 60 for pass.
Oh, I mean, that was for tight ends. Tight ends is 65?
65 run, 65 impact.
Oh, okay. Cool. He is so good. That's fine. So what me and Ron did, if they were over like 92 overall at cornerback, we just kind of left them alone. You know what I mean? If they were over 92 overall at running or at cornerback, we just kind of left them as is until we go back through and pick our top 5. You know what I mean?
Make them elite.
Yeah. Like we didn't want to touch. Like Ramsey and like Patrick Peterson and Sherman, just because those 3 are probably elite. So we didn't want to edit them.
Yeah, I went in and bumped some of Marshawn Lattimore's ratings for the Saints just because he's like a top 3 corner in the NFL this season, and his ratings are horrible.
Yeah.
Like I rated him equivalent to Jalen Ramsey because he's actually better in every category than Ramsey right now.
Yeah. Ron's mic went off, so. It looks like the draft's gonna be Friday night at 10 o'clock. Looks like that's what everyone's voted for.
Yep, I voted for that too.
14. We got 14 votes for Friday at 10. So that's what it looks like when it's gonna be. So we got 1 viewer.
They're bored.
Pretty much. Let's see, we need to go over the off-season schedule too. I'm thinking re-signs. We should give them 24 hours for re-signs and then start. That means that we would start free agency around noon tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, I would say for re-signs, maybe 24 hours probably at max, but we should probably go through and just make sure that everybody's done it. If you don't, missing re-signs on the first season is a disaster because you could lose, a good third of your starters. What team you are.
Yeah, true. Is there any way to edit and edit their contracts if someone's gonna mess them?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Admins can edit contracts. If that's gonna happen to someone,
I know it's definitely gonna happen to. I know it's definitely gonna happen to the Bucks, the new new Panthers and Cowboys owners joined after the advance, so they
I would say
help.
for people that we end up having to do their re-signs for them because they just didn't get around to it.
So how do you see if they need to be re-signed, I guess? Is there any good way of going about that?
Oh yeah, if you go to the salaries section, go to my team, salaries.
Oh, okay.
Let me switch over to the PS4 real quick. It's under my team, salaries, and then you sort by contract length. So remaining, remaining. Anyone that's 1 year, it needs to be re-signed.
Oh, I see. Okay, so that leaves, sheesh, that's a lot of people on this team.
I feel like every team probably has a lot of people. I had 32 this offseason.
32? Jeez.
Yeah, I re-signed I think 20 of them or 18 of them or something. I mean, I picked up a ton of free agents though during the season. A lot of my starters were free agents. Cowboys have an insane amount. Holy smokes. Who's not going to make it?
The Cowboys, the Buccaneers, and
so Cowboys,
the Panthers.
Just off the top of just looking at it, like Alfred Morris, he probably doesn't care. I mean, he's super old.
So what do? You just change it from 1 year to 2 years, like in the length, and then make sure they're on their first year. If you want to do it that way,
or but what I would do is if it's a big time player, that needs to be re-signed. Byron Jones, for example, needs to be re-signed on the Cowboys. He's an important one. He's going to want to lock him up for a long time. Just make sure you give him a contract that actually makes sense for how good he is.
Yeah, I got you. Well, I was thinking like just give him 2, maybe as an option. Just give them 1 year, so that means they have to re-sign him this next season. But
Yeah, if you do that though, make it 1 year with a pretty high premium.
Yeah. Oh, like cutting or whatever.
Like, don't give him a cheap year. Give him
Yeah,
like
I
a
got you.
almost a franchise tag year.
Yeah. So 2 years. This guy sucks, so he's just gonna get 2 years.
Zach Martin and Byron Jones both need to be re-signed. Those are 2 still.
If you wanna do that roster, if you're already looking at it, I'll do the.
Yeah, sure. Are you re-signing everybody?
Just the guys that make sense. Like I don't.
Okay.
Some of these guys are practice squad guys.
Yeah,
I think.
I'm pretty sure a lot of these guys he wouldn't want. His fullback's pretty good. He probably wants him.
So you say go by length or go by remaining? Is it everyone with 1 remaining? Okay.
Length is just whatever the original contract was. Remaining is how much is left.
I got you.
So, you don't have to change the length. Just back up which year it is in the contract year. So if it's if it was like a 5-year, just put it on the 4th year instead of.
Yeah, I see.
Or if you actually, it might be easier for just to say like, just set a contract length 1 year, contract year, 1st year.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going back just 1 year, if that makes so like
Oh
Greg,
yes, actually, I think what you have to do is 2 years, contract year 1, 1st year, because we're technically at the end of the 1st year, not into the next year. So if you did 1 year and 1st year, they're not going to be on the roster at the end of this offseason.
1 year. Oh, I see. No,
So set
yeah.
contract length to 2 years, contract year 1st year.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
what
when
I'm
next
doing.
season starts, they'll technically be in the 2nd year. Okay.
So like Greg Olson's on a 3-year contract, but he's on his last year, so I would just bump it back to 2 year. Yeah.
Just put in the 2nd year.
Yeah.
There you go. I would say if you want to restructure a new contract for someone, just set it to 2 years and put them in the 1st year of the 2-year contract.
Yeah,
And
I
set
see.
Yeah.
Ooh, Shaq Thompson's a big one.
Oh yeah. Panthers. What happened to the last Panthers guy?
He sent me a message and said he was quitting, and then apparently he didn't want to quit. So, but too late, already found a replacement. So.
Oh. 6 p.m.
Yeah, like when guys send me messages all the time, like, "Hey, guy, I'm thinking about quitting, yeah, whatever," and then I find a replacement. Like, what am I gonna tell a replacement then?
Right. Yeah.
Like, I'd rather have a replacement guy that wants to play instead of a guy that just thinks he may leave.
Hey, I don't know if you know this or not. I just discovered it today. But if you're like holding down the button to scroll a slider of any sort, if you hold the direction on the D-pad and then the same direction on the stick, it doubles the speed.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
The left stick. So the left D-pad and the left stick together, if you put them both in the same direction, it doubles how fast the slider goes.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Huh. Very interesting. Let's see, scroll.
I feel like it used to be like that, and it wasn't last year, and then now it is again. Okay. So, I think he probably wanted to re-sign Cole Beasley, even though he's old, right? He's 29, but still pretty good.
Yeah, I would say yeah. I'm just pretty much re-signing anybody that's over like 74 overall or whatever.
So 75 or over, as long as they're not old.
Yeah, as long as they're not old, yeah. That's pretty much what I'm doing. That way they at least have a chance next year to re-sign them.
Yeah, some of these guys. Wonder if I want James Hanna. He's old, but he's still really fast, and with the blocking improvements, he's actually pretty good.
Yeah, he'll like James Hanna because it's Larry. He likes He likes his
Slayer's team.
Yeah, he likes his fast tight ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, Larry, he finished up that.
Hannah already had really good run blocking, but his impact and pass blocking was bad. So now he's a beast. Honestly, I think the biggest recipient of any benefit of all the changes we made was Will Tye on the Jets, because he's like super athletic pass catcher, but a terrible blocker.
Oh yeah, he's kind of small. He's like 6'2" or 6'3" too, right? He's kind of tiny.
I think he's 6'3", yeah. But anyways, that was a huge benefit for him. Oh, Randy Gregory's got to be re-signed. Definitely want him. Gregory's got slowed down now.
Ron said he's in the fourth quarter, so he'll be here soon. Yeah, anybody that's a starter, I'm just giving them another year. Unless they're super high rated, then we gotta work on their contract. But
T-Man Wilson. Yeah, he's pretty decent.
Shambo. I think everyone else, since maybe the punter, is good. I don't know who some of these guys are.
Jeff Swain. Yeah. A lot of guys are re-signed.
Alright, so the last one, he gave me a list of who he wants. He's just missing the re-signings because he's out of town. But the last one is the Bucks, but he gave me a list, so this one should be easier. Let's see here.
Hitchens. Alright, Cowboys are done.
Cool, appreciate it. Alright, I'll finish up the Panthers too. Let's see. Second year, first year, save. This one's gonna be easy. He only wanted a couple guys that he wasn't able to re-sign. Damn, Brent Grimes is gone, I guess. Brent Grimes is slow as shit though, probably.
For sure. See how many people retired?
No, I didn't check that yet. A lot of people?
Nuts. A lot, yeah. A lot of good players. Andrew Whitworth, Nick Novak, Darren Sproles, Danny Woodhead, Ben Watson, Larry Fitzgerald, Brandon Marshall, Jonathan Joseph, Terrence Newman, James Harrison, Zach Streif, Janikowski, David Harris, John Kuhn, Julius Peppers, Jahari Evans, Joe Staley, Anthony Pisano, Jamon Bushrod, Cameron Wake, Derek Johnson, Tom Bahali, Carlos Dansby, Frosty Rucker, Mike Tolbert, Kyle Williams. Those are all guys that were actively on a team.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know if any of those are a huge surprise. Cameron Wake, I don't think was super old.
Yeah. I mean,
Joe Staley probably wasn't super old either. Yeah, but a lot of big time offensive linemen.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Why does it say the Cowboys head coach retired?
Coach what?
The
oh, because I
booted
the last guy.
Oh, so Larry's taking it over.
Yeah, Larry's taking it over. Yeah, the last Cowboys owner didn't play a game. I don't think like all season. He played like one game or two games all season. I think something crazy.
Gotcha.
Oliver Prince. Okay, I signed all his guys, so they're done too. I think that may be it. I mean, if anyone can't re-sign, then I can fix their stuff too, hopefully.
So at 10-6, does that mean I had the worst regular season record of any Super Bowl winner ever?
10-6? Possibly, right? That has to be, right?
Seems like it.
That's funny shit. Had a tough road. Ron had a really tough road because he missed a lot of his last game, so he was a wild card team. So he had to play JSD, then me, then you.
That was a wild card team too.
Yeah.
Even though I won my division outright. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, you did get the forced win though against the Bengals.
Oh yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't want to play that. That was strange.
Yeah, it was weird. I was talking to him, trying to get him to play it. I don't know. But whatever. It is what it is. Where the fuck is Ron at?
CPU games.
Yeah. That was the same thing with Ron too.
No. All of my losses except 2 CPU games. Why did I set that?
Yo.
5:30.
Yo, what's up, Ron? So we were just we were re-signing some of the Larry's guys since he wasn't able to join yet in the Panthers, and then re-signed some of the Bucks guys since Heisman's out of town. Yeah, we're live right now. So.
Did you guys go over what we did?
Nah, we didn't. We were waiting on you. We were just going over other stuff. Looks like the draft's gonna be Friday night at 10 p.m.
I think I can do that.
Cool. So I guess we can just dive into what we're doing and why we're doing it. I guess.
It's simple. It's just. I think it's just prioritizing the flaws of the run game for the most part.
Yeah. Because right now you have the reason we're making these changes, and I'll bump them on the page so everyone can see. Actually, I'll just copy and paste them and post them on the video. But the reason we're doing this is because right now the game's just not playing right. You have wide receivers that are coming in like sill blocking linebackers, and you have cornerbacks that are just getting demolished. They're just getting pancaked every time, and then I guess tight ends across the league have like lower run block than the wide receivers do, and a lot of the tight ends, there's only like one tight end over 80 run block, so the inside blocking for runs is just horrible. And then I'll let I guess Roger and you go over in more detail about that stuff. You guys test the game way more than me.
Well, the biggest thing is just from a balance standpoint. You want to make sure that like the players do what their job is intended for. Like the reason why you put a tight end on the field is because any tight end worth their salt is better than 99.9% of any wide receivers out there. Like they're much better blockers, bigger bodies, longer arms, heavier, stronger, etc. So they're better blockers. And the way the game is, there's tons of wide receivers, like an insane amount of wide receivers, and you'd be shocked at especially like the individual players, even matching up to their real life blocking abilities. Like they're rated extremely poorly. Like tons of tight ends are worse blockers than bad wide receiving block. Like receivers that aren't good blockers in real life and have tiny bodies, like guys that are like 5'9" and 185 pounds have 60 blocking, 62, 63, and tons of tight ends that are like 6'4", 240, 250 with like 48 blocking, 52 run blocking, stuff like that. So the point is,
like anyone that's played football knows like the best blocking receiver cannot seal an edge or you know, if he has to, I've been involved in some plays to where like we would motion down and just chip or try to seal an end, and it's impossible, man. Like receivers just should not be blocking that way. I mean, I think the best blocking receiver, and that's why we did kind of the maximums and minimums, is because it's a little bit crazy. And when I did that, when I made that post that one day, I think you can see the problems in the run game with the disparities and just the ratings. I mean, the receivers in terms of run blocking versus the block shedding is, I think there's probably 5 times the amount of receivers that can block than corners that can get off of a block. So it's like, it just ends up playing the way that it looks out there, which is, I don't think it's good, but I hope that some of the stuff actually shows up on the field. Like the preseason is going to be interesting to me.
Yeah. Hey, so with
there's also an insane amount of runs where your tight end just whiffs on blocks because so many of them are rated in the 50s in run blocking.
Yeah.
So we set the minimum to 65 run block, 65 impact, and 60 pass block, because like not every time, and those are minimums, by the way. So there are still guys out there with like 80 run block and 78 pass block and high impact and all that stuff. But the minimum, just because any tight end worth their salt should be able to make a marginal play on a decent defender.
Even with so we did basically the elite corners. I think we set the threshold at like 92 overall and above. They can keep their pursuit above the maximum. Just because they're special players, you want them to play special, but everybody else is really maxed out on pursuit and block shed too. But block shed, I don't think is really the big thing. I think it's the receiver blocking that was the big problem, more so than the corner block shed. I think the corner block shed was made a lot more accurate.
And we didn't really edit those corner block shed that much. They were mostly around that threshold anyways. So it was maybe like two or 3 points here or there, but it wasn't anything huge. But these thresholds will just we'll keep these. So if you go to upgrade your players, make sure you don't go over or under this threshold. Well, you can't go under. So just make sure you don't go over those thresholds by using your XP.
Yeah, you won't get in trouble. They'll just get caught every time we come around and reset the minimums. They'll get reset and you'll just lose that XP. So
yeah, I would save that XP and use it for something else.
The rookies are going to be the question. I'm curious how they make. I know the rookie classes are loaded. I just don't know if they're going to create any issues with that, but we can edit them too if need be.
Yeah, I mean the rookies usually come in with usually some freak rookies that come in, but all we're doing is just changing the run block, impact blocking for wide receivers and tight ends, and cornerbacks just block shed, and so it's going to make a huge difference on their overalls or anything about their game other than their blocking logic. Because right now the problem is that the outside's being blocked so well, and the inside's being blocked like trash, from the tight ends to the wide receivers. So it's just a huge difference.
Yeah, so everyone runs outside as their base run game, and you can't really blame them.
Yeah, and you can always kind of hedge your bet a little bit by saying that, the outside zone is run a lot in real life, but golly, it's hard not to base your scheme around the outside run. But with some of these looks, you should be running inside. That's always my big thing, is I would like to be able to run the ball inside the tackles a lot better with some of the looks I get, but it's just hard to do it. Yeah, and then there were so few tight ends that were worth a shit in the run game. You would go and just find one of the few that were out there. But I think now if there are more tight ends that can actually hold a block, I think it's going to look better too. And then we have to deal with. I think Cody, you should go over what you did with the sliders.
Okay, yeah. So for the sliders, we're just gonna, and all this stuff is not final. None of this is finalized. We're just gonna test it all out in preseason. I was telling Ron earlier that maybe what we should do is we should definitely play all 4 games, but maybe turn off injuries and let everyone play their starters. That way we get a good feel of how the game's actually going to play. and we can test it through preseason, and then when we test it through preseason, we can make adjustments, and then hopefully have everything done by preseason week 4. So preseason week 4 will be like a run, you know, like a normal game, and that's how it will play for the rest of the season. That's the goal. I'll go ahead and bring up the slider so that way everyone can see.
I say everyone just plays at least one, because the advance is already pretty spread out.
Yeah.
Just so it doesn't take. I think you should play at least one preseason game though, just one. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to play all 4. I can probably tell the difference in it by one game.
Yeah, I mean, as long as
Well,
we
we're not even planning on having that long between the advances, right? We should probably just set.
yeah, this can be quicker advances for the preseason.
Anyone that can get on and start a game at like some specific time and be done within 2 hours, so we can advance through the rest of them. That'd be good.
Yeah. We just need some film, pretty much. That's all we need. We just need multiple film across the league for preseason. That way we can get an idea of how each week. That way we can get an idea of how the sliders are playing and the edits to the attributes. But right now we have.
So I was gonna say, Roger, can you tell everyone real quick how to save and upload so we don't have because I think the playoffs, once we figured that out, it played so much smoother, man. Like I really didn't have that many issues.
First thing you have to do is just click your share button once and go to sharing. There's a option that says length of video clip near the top. I don't know what I think the default is like 5 minutes. Set that to 60. Unfortunately, 60 is the max. Sometimes games go over, but anyways, set that to 60, and then from then on, so like what I do is as soon as the game is over, or I'm at the point of the game where I'm like taking knees or whatever, just click the share button once and hit video clip, which is the first option, and that'll save the last 60 minutes of whatever you did as a video file that you can then upload wherever you want.
Yeah. So what I did.
You don't have to upload it then though. It's saved. You could upload it whenever you want.
Yeah, so what I did was when me and Ron played in the playoffs, I think he paused at halftime, and since our games are a little bit over an hour, he paused it at halftime to go take a piss or something, and then I just saved that clip and I started a new clip. And you can save and start by double tapping the share button, and that all that does is just save that clip, that previous clip, and you hit it again, you can start a new clip.
Not everyone's double tap is the same for the share button. Like
you can edit it.
Modify what your share button does.
You can modify it, but it's either hold or double tap. But I think by default it's double tap.
You don't ever have to like start a new clip. You just have to save your last 60 minutes, and then you're automatically filling the next 60 at that point.
Yeah, if you want to though, you can actually control it when you're actually streaming and when you're not, or when you're starting a clip and ending it. But you don't have to. If you have it set to 60, it'll just automatically save your last 60. And you can upload that to YouTube.
Even if you miss like a part of the first quarter, who cares? Like,
yeah.
If the game plays better, that's what was driving me away from a lot of CFM games. Honestly, like it made the lag was so bad sometimes I didn't even want to play.
Yeah,
no, for sure.
Not even without streaming, let alone with it.
Yeah, I couldn't. I couldn't. There was a lot of games where I couldn't pick defensive plays because my defensive menus were just so slow. And then trying the user was, impossible. But like I said, for the we'll go back to the league sliders. I just did a couple of tweaks here for the QB accuracy. I just brought it down 5. Pass blocking, I brought it down 5. And pass reaction time took it up a good bit, just to try to get those safeties to play a little bit better. Because like right now you're having, I see a lot of people throwing posts into single high safeties with no clear out, and just a lot of shit like that.
My concern with that, of taking pass reaction up, is that linebackers already cover pretty good.
Yeah.
And we don't want it to get to the point where like you can sit back and zone all day and nothing's open because linebackers are just locking everything down. Yeah,
true. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But I know for TSC they have it at 90, so I think 75 would be a good start, and then we can, if that's too high, we can bump it back down to maybe 65. The same with
To
pass
me, it's
coverage.
to me, it's not even the. I mean, we know that middle third doesn't react very well. I mean, we've
Yeah,
known that for a while now. But one thing that I like about that is against concepts like bench, that it's almost like if you play cover three, it's like you're putting a roof on the foundation, and it's really all you're doing. So that corner can actually play some of that stuff on the outside, and he'll actually react to it. Which is why, like, when I lab against All Madden or playing against All Madden, a lot of the concepts that work on All Pro don't work quite as well, just because you actually have people reacting to it. I think that the outside third is actually the best part about that. I would like to see my corners and three break on a lot more stuff. But the middle third safety is, yeah, we know that.
yeah.
It depends on the concept and whatever, but
The developers said that there's a threshold for the safeties where, like, so that's why everyone uses the Seahawks and Lobby, is because those two safeties have the highest play rec out of any safeties on the game, and you have two of them on the same team, so they will actually play their shit like they're supposed to. Yeah, they do warp a little bit here and there, but they actually come down and play shit and don't let people just throw posts underneath them all day. And so that's why, and I honestly think that's why the Seahawks are one of the most used teams in the lobby. It's just because those two safeties, you can't get that shit with any other team. That play rec and that reaction, they take away a lot of those posts and a lot of that crap. But yeah, we're just gonna test out this stuff in the preseason. If it works, it works. If not, we'll adjust as we go, and then hopefully by preseason week 4 we will have everything down to where a science.
Did you check out like an existing slider set from Operation Sports or whatever?
Yeah, well, I checked out one on Operation Sports. I checked out the Sim Experience one. I checked out I forgot what the name of the one on Operation Sports was. Shit, I think I have it saved in my links.
That's cool. I was just curious.
Yeah, but yeah, I did.
I don't think anything that you're doing is gonna, like, what we did is not gonna make the game play 1,000 times better or worse. Like,
no, yeah, I don't think so.
You know what I'm saying? Like, balance a little bit.
Exactly. A lot of the changes are just gonna show up pretty subtle. But I mean, anybody that still wants to play like they're trying to break the game is, I mean, you're gonna be able to do that on anything. I just think some of the subtle changes may make the game a little more enjoyable. I just know sometimes people freak out when they see changes made to like their player skill sets and the sliders and all that. Don't freak out. It's not even a big deal, really.
Yeah, it's not. It's across the board, so it's not just you. It's everyone. Everyone is across the board for every player, every team. So it's not just your team getting affected.
But I will say, in the playoffs this year, I really did not see a lot of fuck shit going on. Honestly, I didn't. So, I mean, I think if everyone plays, I think there's a few players in the league that still play kind of weird, but they're not winning games for the most part. So they don't. It's not really that big of a deal. I think it's refreshing because I know there was a point in this league to where it felt like the guys that were trying to play somewhat correct and make reads and actually have some type of thought to what they were doing were being eliminated, and the fuck shit was winning.
A lot of that is the difference between All Madden and All Pro, to be honest. Like All Pro, just because it's a little more open, it gives people who are thinking a little bit more of a lot better chance of making plays, especially on offense.
I just thought it was dope to see a nice group, and you know, when you watch how the playoffs play, I really didn't see anyone doing anything egregious or anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, any you don't want to get too picky to where you're like, oh, you ran this play too many times, but I just didn't see anyone doing anything stupid out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one lined up in bunch and snugs for 80% of the game and was running nanos 80% of the game. I just didn't see that, so it's kind of dope.
Yeah, I will say that hopefully some of this shit gets rid of those snugs and bunch go-tos, because I think like the reason that those were so successful, especially snugs, is because of the wide receiver blocking. the wide receivers would just
it
seal.
isolates the linebackers on the receivers.
And those wide receivers.
Tackle from a linebacker, you're breaking it from a corner. With your
Exactly, because those wide receivers would just seal off those linebackers from those tight formations every time, and that shit would just be outside zone for.
Are any of those in-game adjustments? Do any of those affect corner block shedding? Like any of them?
No.
Okay. I didn't think they did.
There's actually nothing that affects the run game except like how you tackle. Like if you put it on conservative tackling, noticeably you get trucked a lot.
I was just wondering because I was wondering if conservative tackling made the corners.
Oh shit! So hold up, you get trucked more if you're on conservative tackling?
Yeah, conservative you won't you'll still make the tackle, but they'll like truck you and you'll fall backwards a lot. No wonder. Tackling.
No fucking wonder.
Ron, bro. Ron had been using conservative tackling and was wondering why. Why every running back looked like Superman.
Every time. God damn. I thought you had Edgerrin James back there in the Super Bowl. I was like, what the fuck?
Right. My running back sucks too. all my running backs are backup quality.
That shit's hilarious. Yeah, I had no idea what the conservative shit did. I didn't read it because I never used that shit.
On balance. If you put it on aggressive, they'll go for like a hit stick every time, and it will cause more fumbles. But you don't get trucked if it's on aggressive, but you will blow tackles a lot more.
Yeah.
Oh man, I've had
this. Balance is the best for sure.
Damn, I've had this game fucked up for.
Conservative helps with not giving up huge runs though.
I swear I don't know what some of those do. I know conservative catching is supposed to, but I mean I literally do that manually anyway. Just with whatever catch I decide to make.
Well, the conservative and aggressive catching, actually, if you read the descriptor, they don't. Some of them are actually kind of backwards, like what you would consider to be conservative. Like conservative on the short, I think short pass conservative will actually make them rack catch everything, which is not what you think. You think it would make them possession catch everything.
I'm not touching those anymore. I'm not.
I leave everything on balance except I make my corners match up by depth chart in case guys get moved around. I still want the depth chart's border on those guys, which is I think that's probably of all the things that they added in those, that's probably the best one because that's the most realistic one. If you want a guy you can't assign a guy to follow someone around, but if you set it by depth chart, then that's essentially what you're doing.
Yeah. I wish they would have allowed you to do that, allowed you to just say, Desmond Trufant's going to cover. Yeah, I know, I remember that. Desmond Trufant's going to cover Antonio Brown the whole game. You know what I mean? That's the shit I want to be able to do.
If you order by depth chart, as long as they don't actually go in and change their depth chart in the game, then he will be on him all game.
I got you. Even for those weird formations where they come out.
Even in the weird formations, even if you do package subs and all that stuff, they'll still be on him.
Ah, cool. All right, cool.
Roger, what do you think about, me and Cody were talking about this, we were talking about him having the Falcons and how Julio Jones seems like a non-factor a lot of games. And he had a couple he had a 5'8" corner on him and a 5'8" safety over the top. Didn't make
one-on-one
on the ball.
One-on-one and
weird,
they fucking picked the ball off.
I was telling him last year was so much better because it got crazy sometimes, but at least you had to be cognizant of the fact that he was on the field. I feel like this year, man.
Yeah,
you can't this year. Receiver.
You can't take advantage of height at receiver, or even Julio just doesn't make any plays one-on-one against an inferior.
You kind of can, but it's where it doesn't show up is when you just throw 50-50 balls. Those are really, really ineffective this year compared to previous years. What you can do for one is have people. You could keep what I usually set my my defensive setting. I put it on conservative so that they swat automatically. If you have people change that, then you would see more 50-50 balls be caught. Potentially, you could even have people change that to play the receiver instead, and then you would really see that when you got a little corner on a big wide receiver, if you force them to play the receiver, then they're really going to give up a lot more of those 50-50 balls. Whereas the big corners can play the receiver and still break the pass up a little bit.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah, because
It's
Julio
bad.
Julio versus a 5'8"
That said,
safety
though,
is
certain
fucking
routes, height
horrible.
actually does have a pretty big advantage. Like when I have a big physical receiver, I like to run digs, comebacks, and posts. All of those, when you throw those into, like, if you're wide open, it doesn't really make a difference. But when you got a guy that's close or even kind of hugging you a little bit, those routes specifically, the bigger receivers do a way better job of catching him.
That's a valid. It's valid, but we do have to think about with what I just said at the same time. Like, how many times this season has Julio Jones just run a streak against an off 3 corner and jumped up and caught the football? I don't know if it's happened one time. So we're just spoiled with, you know.
He did it a lot last
man.
year. He did it a lot last year, but not this year.
I mean, when I see that stuff happen in real life, like Galladay, I think that's his name from the Lions. He caught something down the sideline last week. I mean, it's a lot of press man and stuff like that, but no one's gonna play press man this year, so you're
Exactly.
also not getting a lot of the looks
in the
that
game,
you
if
would
people
see.
run press man and they blow off the line, then you will see those kind of catches. But I mean, people tend to play more. I definitely play more conservative in the game just because I would rather, I'd rather force you to make 2 or 3 good throws than one easy throw for a touchdown.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what we were talking about
press man
earlier.
is just dangerous.
Playing
It's
conservative.
dangerous. We were saying that you do a good job of keeping everything in front of you because the red zone is. I mean, that's the smart way to play. That's you don't give up big plays and you force people to get in the red zone and you might get a turnover and a field goal and then that may be what you need. But a lot of people, I know in previous years I used to get baited into running cover 0 and pressing and blitzing 7 and you can do it. I'm not saying don't do it. You just got to mix it in right. Like that one play you ran
Yeah,
man,
you got to
got
know
to
who you're
pick.
playing.
You ran man and you
I
got to
know the
pick
first
because I didn't
time I ran
expect
that.
it.
Yeah, I ran cover 1 with
So
the
it's like
linebacker blitz. Yeah.
and Cody was doing that too when we labbed one day. He was running cover 3 match and then he would mix in a little man, so you get him thinking a little bit. But you cannot come out this year like a lot of teams playing just run man all
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, I run a lot of
And then
match with
when
cover
I brought
1.
that nickel blitz towards the end where I picked it with my safety. That was another, like, I really, there were only 4 guys in coverage, but I was just taking away the inside read and bringing heat.
But I mean, you still didn't give up any big plays. I know, like last.
I gave up
Cody,
one really early. You had 3rd and 1, and I blitzed. I brought an extra guy because I was hoping to get a stop, and you ran it for like 50 yards. And I was like, in that moment, I was like, you know what? I'm not doing that for the rest of the game. 3rd and 1, he can have the first down. I'm just gonna make him take a lot longer because it would have been you would have gotten the first down and been on your own 30 instead of on my 20 or whatever happened.
But you could tell, like, when I play you and Cody that people are at least thinking. Like, you'll give up the flat. Like, you can't take everything away when you're playing guys like us.
Yeah, sure.
You can't do it. So you just pick and choose what you want to give up and when you want to give it up. I mean, stops are few and far between when you play good people, but if you see 2 good teams playing
I
in
only
real life,
punted once. I only punted once the whole game. I had no turnovers, so yeah, you're right. Turnovers are few and far between.
It's hard, man. It's hard. Like when seriously, I had some drives against Cody to where I was like, dude, this run game is so crazy. Like, I'm just trying to get a fumble or some shit.
Well, he averaged 12.5 yards a carry. Literally, I looked at the stats and I was like, what the heck?
His receivers, if he gets to that, well, hence why we're having this whole little
not anymore.
Right. Hopefully not. But his receivers are insane. Yeah. And then I didn't know conservatives still gave you issues. I just thought I was conceding to a short tackle, but okay.
Yeah, that's what it should
tackle
mean.
Where you drag them, where they let you drag them forward for 4 yards.
Oh, that's awful. But I mean, Freeman should play well, but
yeah,
Sanu and Julio are just, oh my gosh.
Yeah, Cody's team and like 3 other teams had like 3 starters that all had 65 block and like 60 something impact. So
yeah.
One guy had like 71 or 72 impact. Michael Floyd, I think, had like 72 impact block and 69 run block.
Yeah, I think that's probably stock too.
I was telling you that was a guy like base roster that I saw, and I was like, holy shit. Like if you wanted to do some gay shit, you could just put him out there and run stretch and just sprint
in
to
the slot.
because who is he with in real life? I don't know who he's with now, but
The
I think he was on
Cardinals for a long time.
I don't know
no,
if he's still on
he's
there.
no, he's not.
I know he's the Vikings
gone
too
from
for a
them.
while, right?
Yeah, I don't know where he's. I don't know where
Then
he
he
went
went to the Pats or something, but he's with a team right now that actually has some speed. But someone like that's actually a game-changing skill set if you
Yeah.
He's
play
with the
like
Vikings
that.
now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's what I was saying. So like I think that's a lot of people are getting the Vikings in with the fast back and just sprinting towards him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a
If you put him out there with McKinnon, Jared McKinnon, that's now that I think about it, there was a guy that I played in the lobby that used the Vikings the other day, and he had McKinnon in, so he was running outside like that, so he probably actually had fucking Michael Floyd in blocking. I didn't even think about that.
But on the flip side, the Vikings corners, just from editing their team, they were all 80-something pursuit and
Jesus.
Jeez.
Yeah, Michael Floyd base roster is 71 impact block.
yeah, and then their corners shed every block. So
62 run block and 71
a
impact.
lot of people when they pick teams, they look at like just the speed and they'll look at the O-line, maybe the run block, pass block, but they don't look in depth like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not surprised a lot of people when you look at the block shedding, the run block, the impact block, and all that other stuff, I'm not surprised people would pick the Vikings a lot at all. Because, I mean, if someone's going to come out and run ace tight and run toss, stretch, and wham on you, the Vikings are really good because their corners actually can shed.
Yeah. Well, cool, y'all. Shit, I think we went over everything we needed to go over. Like I said, we'll be editing throughout the preseason, and after we get these rookies in. Draft is at 10 p.m. Friday night this week, so make sure everyone's on.
Speaking of the draft, if anyone has a trade, holla at me because my team, the worst, and Roger can attest, can kind of co-sign this. The worst part about advancing so far with a shitty roster is looking at your roster at the end of the season and your draft picks. So if anyone has any trades,
now go compare the Colts roster to the Rams roster.
I know the Colts
first.
The Colts are worse. The Colts are way worse. Yeah. But Whitworth
the
retired
second
on
part
me.
is they got guys that are like they're too good to not start, but they're like so old they're not going to get better. Like at linebacker,
Yeah.
I have like 4 linebackers that were all like, well, I can't really start anybody over them, but they're all 28. So
Yeah.
Gosh, my team is ass. Cody, you got any trades, bro? I think I'm just gonna load up on picks.
Some
'Cause,
trades.
like trading in Aaron Donald would be dumb because he's so good, but my roster is so unbalanced. It's terrible. Like
Y'all. Hopefully the league doesn't blackball you guys since you were in the Super Bowl. That's usually how it works. Like you'll be trying to trade, and nobody wants to fucking trade you because you win every game.
I'll give some deals.
Yeah,
We've got guys,
I'll cut some deals. I might as well trade Julio since he ain't doing shit anyways. Fucking asshole. I'll take him.
His value went down after this whole talk. So
Yeah, exactly.
You should have let us know that before we talked.
I'll
about
give
that.
you a 6th round pick and.
I mean, that pisses me. There's certain positions even on this game that just he should be such an impact player in these games, bruh.
Yeah, he's just not though.
I think that's the reason why. Like, I think if he played the way he should play, I think that would really set your roster off. I still wouldn't trade him, but you probably just have to find some place to where you can get him involved and use what he can do aside from just running your basic stuff.
Yeah.
Man, if I had one more, actually no, the 2011 Giants won the Super Bowl. They were 9-7 in the regular season.
You were 10-6.
I was 10-6, yeah. There's been a couple 10-6 Super Bowl winners. Curious about that.
You just peaked at the right time.
9-7 though. Well, also, 4 of those losses were to the computer. One of them was to you by like less than a touchdown.
Oh yeah, and Lagfest.
Yeah, it was terrible. I couldn't even throw the ball. I was like, I think I ran the ball like 20 times with my quarterback. I like pressed the
That
icon.
was one of those games to where like
nope. Well, I guess I'll just run.
I was so thirsty to play a week 1 game with the Rams that normally I would have just after the first kickoff that went out of bounds I would have been like, yo, let's run this later. But when the thirst gets a hold of you, it's like, let's just run it. And then I knew something was wrong with you because I think we missed like extra points and all that stuff. It was bad that game, but I'm just glad the league has a way to where like we can actually get film, but not have to have severe lag. It's all like you said.
There were actually,
you know what I
there were some
noticed?
plays where like I knew the guy was open, so I just started tapping. Like I don't care if it's allowed. I'm just gonna keep tapping his icon until you throw it, and still never threw it. I was just like tap 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 tap, tap nothing.
Do you notice that the lag on change of possession when it's loading your created is when it kicks in? It's almost like a computer that's loading a file.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like when you go on
that's
offense
why.
and your custom is loading, that's when you get it. It's like change of possession.
I think that's why my defensive playbook never fucking works.
Who beat the Seahawks in the playoffs?
I did.
It's 14-2. What was the score?
I don't know, but he was hard to stop.
I think it was. I think you beat him by a couple of scores. And no, he can't.
It wasn't that close.
He can't.
It
Yeah.
wasn't that close. If I did beat him by a couple of scores, it was not telling because that's a hard roster to beat.
No, actually, it was you beat him.
Sure.
You beat him 14-12.
Whoa!
Goodness gracious!
Hard to stop.
I thought you.
I'm saying like even like in terms of like pass rush and that's just a complete roster. But
I thought you scored more than that when I was watching.
I did too. I thought it was higher scoring than that.
Yeah,
That's
I guess
weird.
not. Yeah, 14-12.
Yep, 14-12. Yep.
But the reason why I hate playing JSD is
You only threw for 90 first
of all, Madden needs to get rid of every playoff game snowing. I'm sick of that. I played. I'm playing in the snow the first 2 weeks every playoff series. Then I have Josh McCown out there, so it's a little like I think I ran the ball pretty well, but JSD is good though. I did, of course.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's an advantage. I had the white. We had a snow game, me and the Jets, and I had the white jerseys, and I was so happy because he threw like 2 picks, where it was because I had the white jersey and see my guy.
Evens out because you still have to find your receivers, and then they're slipping in the snow, so now they look like Dippin' Dots.
Oh no.
Tavon Austin looked like a Dippin' Dot on a dig rat. I was like, what is that? But JSD is good. He played pretty clean. He's one of those guys you got to keep an eye on because he'll come out and he'll get down by 3 and come out and gun bunch for 2 series in a row. But he didn't do that shit.
Hurry up. Hey, have you guys noticed a lot of times on Hurry Up you can't change your play?
Yeah, you can't.
Formation. Like, you can't even change your play.
You can't do it. Yeah, when you're on defense, you can't change your play in Hurry Up. Sometimes
that's terrible.
It locks up. I don't know what it is, but it won't change
series.
anything.
Yeah, like it gets
for the
stuck in
entire
a cycle, the whole
series.
Yep. As long as they're calling Hurry Up, you will not be able to change your play.
Yeah, that's why Hurry Up's kind of whack. But Hurry Up's kind of whack. But I mean, I feel it if it's situational.
Situational is good, but I need to set my The problem is I don't know how many people actually set their defensive audibles. So
I set mine
on offense.
Oh, I do. Yeah, all mine are set.
I need to.
That may be part of that may be part of the problem why my fucking playbook's so slow. It takes me an hour to get through formation.
Well, that's the problem. If like Cody, your playbook is so meticulous. No wonder you have a lag every time you get the ball. That's the load. That's the load in ebook. Like you have situational 15 script plays for each down and distance. Like every time you get the football, it takes 15 seconds for your playbook to load. I'm sure. I don't have.
Yeah, I don't really have an issue on offense because I do have my game plan set. So it's like all of my plays are pretty much like an Ask Madden, pretty much for each situation. So I have everything I need there, but on defense, I don't have my game plan set up, so I have to go into the playbook and pick plays, and that shit is impossible. So what ends up happening is the timer will run out, and Madden will call a defense for me, and then I have to try to audible from there.
That's hard when matching personnel.
Do you not have your formations in order?
I know I do. It's just like when I get to the menus, like it won't let me click through them.
Oh.
That's how laggy it is. Like it won't let me go from like nickel to 4-3 or from 4-3 to whatever dime. It won't let me go fast enough, and like so I have to wait for them to pick their play, and then I see their personnel, and then try to go to like to match it, and it's like takes an hour, and then the timer runs out. Yeah, it's like 5.
Change that timer.
What is it, like 5
Just
seconds or
call
something?
Just call nickel because you'll be straight.
Yeah, right. Until I get it ran down my throat like you did.
But that's the thing. At least you know you're good against 2 or 4 receivers.
Yeah.
If you're running out of time.
Yeah.
But
it's just
you know
that
what?
you only get like
Roger
5
did a
or
good
8
job
seconds
when
or something.
The sugar looks work against a lot of people, but he had answers for it. That's actually not a good defense against someone that knows what they're doing at all.
Yeah, I always
In the run,
I
under
start
center
licking
especially.
I start licking my chops when I see that shit.
Works well
Yeah,
sometimes.
I
but
hardly ever run it. I treat the sugar as like a pass rush, bring pressure only look for me.
Yeah, 'cause no one's gonna be running inside really at all. I mean, trap is pretty good. I think the biggest flaw in the run game is the 2-back power. No, not the power runs, just the dive,
Well,
the ISO.
an issue that I've noticed by
Yeah,
looking
for
at the rosters. I know we looked at tight ends run block, but fullbacks run block's horrible. I don't know if
Yeah,
y'all
that's
looked around
true.
the league,
That's
but they're
should
all
probably look
every
at that.
every fullback that I see on the rosters are just horrible at running.
I think
Run
my
blocking.
fullback has 70 run block, and that's after like upgrading him all season.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible. Why would you have a 5'11", 240-pound roly-poly on your roster if he should have at least... I mean, their minimum run block should be about 75, seriously. Like, and their
Well,
impact
mine's
block should be
6'3",
like
234, so...
Mine is
That's good, but...
yeah. Mine's 6 foot 233.
He's the accountant-looking little brother.
Mine's 6 foot 233 with 69 run block.
Oh, that's terrible.
Look
There's
at
like-
not
him,
a
though. He looks
fullback
like
in this
Gronk.
world
Gronk
that's
was like
69 run
45.
block.
Like even so, Kyle
Yeah.
Juszczyk or whatever his name is, he has 73 run block for the 49ers, and he's 91 overall with 73 run block. Like what is he doing? What?
That's
Well, he's got some really good like receiving and running skills, but I mean fullbacks. No one is gonna hold a spot on the roster for a fullback that's not.
That's
at
not gonna be able to
least
block.
70
Yeah.
Run block. Like, there's no point in having one. You just
Most
put a tight end there.
even like so James Devlin has 75 run block. That's it, and he's probably one of the better run blocking tight ends in the league. I would imagine. James Devlin is at 75 with 65 impact.
I always think of John Connor. Is he still in the game? I think of Hard
He retired.
Knocks. Oh, he's probably gonna have CTE in like 10 years.
John Kuhn retired too.
God.
I mean,
I'm
in the
not
game. You
surprised.
talking about real life or in Madden?
Oh yeah, I'm in real life.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
like-
I think he's still around in real life.
Yo,
In
there
Madden,
is
they both retired this season.
there is no fullback that has
Hey, guys,
over.
I gotta go. We'll,
All right, cool.
Go ahead, man.
Talk to you later.
There is no fullback that has over 78 run block.
That might be the next, but no one uses one.
I mean, yeah, but fuck, like there's no reason to have them rostered if they don't have. If you have 69 run block, like what's the point of even having a damn fullback? You might as well just put a
That's
running
why
back there.
I mean, NFL teams don't really have them either.
Yeah, I would
mean,
say for the guys that
But
should
but
be.
at least if you do have one, they're gonna be amazing.
Yeah, for sure. Like James Devlin, for instance, in real life, like he's a fucking beast. Lead blocker. He lead blocks every time he comes in, unless they send him out wide as a decoy. All right, man. I guess I'm gonna call this shit. I gotta get on this paper. I gotta turn it in by midnight. So. Everybody
Alright, man.
everybody stay up to date on the page and just keep up with the updates. We're gonna be changing shit here and there. We posted our first test or our first test of the attributes we changed, and we'll just go from there. But appreciate everyone's work.
What do you want to do about the advanced schedule? I say we leave it as is.
Yeah. I'm planning to leave it as is because right now we're at 72-hour advance Monday through Thursday, and then on the weekends you have an extra day, and that's just because one of the premise of the league was not advancing over the weekend because I know people have family stuff going on and all sorts of shit. So, and you have football on,
The
you have
scouting
other
thing
shit
is
on.
one thing. Like, I personally, it's hard for me to find time to scout. But like, if it's a big game, I would, I'll look at some tape.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's what I
If I'm,
find so funny about the scouting thing, because like if people aren't doing well, like that's one of the keys to get better and to start beating your division opponents is to know what they're doing. Like you have to understand how to beat them before you can just go out there and get lucky and beat them. Like you have to actually know what goes into it. Like if you have to pick up on their tendencies and come up with a game plan that can stop that. Because it's like if you're last in your division every year, there's a reason for it. You know what I mean?
well, there are certain people that don't have to scout. I mean, not to be. I know scouting is important. That's what you want to do, but some people need to be scouting.
Yeah,
Just
so
put it
no,
like that.
some people do need to scout more than others for sure, and some people need to ask more questions if they don't understand what certain things are or what's going on. If they don't understand like certain football shit, like there's plenty of people in the league that can help them with that. So if they don't understand
I
why
mean,
they're getting beat every
if
game,
you really look at anyone that's like struggling with the game, like if you have time to scout, you should do it.
yeah,
Because it gives you a huge advantage.
mm-hmm.
Like
You start,
if I were to watch the last 3 or 4 games I played, I would be able to pick up on so many tendencies on stuff that I do,
yeah,
just in different looks. You can just shoot the gap or jump a read. Like everyone has tendencies that they give away that will give you a small advantage. And
yeah,
when you see some of these games, it's only 1 or 2 stops that you need to make sometimes. If
yeah,
you force 2 picks or you stop a few runs on 3rd and 2 because you know it's coming, that's the difference right there. So like scouting is not going to make you amazing, but it's going to it's going to give you a big advantage. And also scheme wise, like Cody said, you know, some like myself, I really don't have the time to really, you know, help a lot of people out if you have questions. But I would just say there are a lot of places you can go to get information, or a lot of people you can ask.
yeah.
And I
Like if
would say
you're,
just simpler is so much better. I'll just put it like that. Like the more every time I get to a big game, I always just condense everything that I do, and it's so simple. You know what I'm saying? It's like
yeah,
make your read sound. That's really all you can do. And there's enough on this game, especially with the created book, to where you know if you make things very simple
yeah.
and look at tendencies, you'll be it's not that hard to play,
There's
bro.
a lot of resources too in the if you go to the file section on Facebook. There's a lot of resources in the research library. There's a shit ton of good articles, YouTube channels where you can actually learn real concepts, how to beat stuff, and like real football shit, not Madden YouTube videos. They're not Madden YouTube videos. I mean, there are the Madden series that some of the non-sim guys create, like Ron and
Hmm.
a couple other people, but there's not any bullshit in there about running ebooks or some money scheme or any bullshit like that. It's just real football shit. So if you
What's crazy is when you play someone really good that is actually thinking, a lot of the meta shit, like the snugs and condensed and bunch, it really doesn't work that well.
yeah,
Sometimes you just
exactly,
gotta, you know, so if you're, all you have to do is just be able to really, like, if you see the way that me and Cody lab and hear like our thought process, which we should probably do one day, is just to show people just in the lab, just maybe with like a stock book,
yeah,
um, kind of how simple it is
yeah.
and
That's
what
what I
we're
was saying. That
thinking. It's
everyone should everyone in my opinion too should have like a buddy system, and you don't have to pick someone in your division or anything. You can pick someone outside of your division, outside of your conference. But like if you need help labbing, or if you want to lab with somebody, like hit them up. Like, hey, you want to lab? Like we can run shit past each other. Like that really helped. That really helps me and Ron. That really helped me and B Dot last year. Like me and B Dot had this like running playbook that Ron kept making fun of. But we had this like running scheme that me and him just kept editing, and by the time we were done with it, that shit was fucking solid. Like it was so intricate and had everything available for you to all the answers to any questions that the defense was, giving you.
Even like a shallow cross or like a levels concept, man. This is that era to where like, if you want to know how a concept looks or what it should look like, you just have to go to Google or YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, there's blog sites, there's Twitter, there's cut-ups, there's YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, there's coaching clinic video.
Coaching clinics that show you like what beat cover 3, what beats cover, what beats cover 3, what beats man. There's so much shit and so many videos
you don't have to be a coach. You don't have to be a genius.
Yeah, you don't have to.
But I do think it's a little bit more rewarding if you're running something and you know why you're running it and what it should look like.
Exactly.
As opposed to, well, the zones just play this way.
Yeah.
There's if you follow the right people on Twitter and know how to search YouTube, which I'm sure we all do. I mean, I'm dead serious. Like when you're playing against someone good, like shallow cross is hard to stop.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to stop. Just the basic stuff is hard to stop if you know what
when to call it.
You get your reads down.
You gotta pre-snap read the defense, see what they're in. You get that down, and then you post-snap read the defense. And if it was a show look or something, that's when you kind of realize that, and you make your reads. But yeah, it's pretty simple if you break it down that way, and if you understand why you're doing something when you're doing it. But if you're just going out there calling random plays, not pre-snap reading the defense or anything like that, you're kind of hurting yourself more than anything. You are hurting yourself more than anything. But all right, man, I'm gonna get on this paper. Appreciate it. Yeah, fuck, draft Friday night, 10 o'clock. We out.
All right, bro.
Later.